Hello, good morning, Darryl. Good morning. Good morning to everybody.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Yes,
Morning.
good
Morning. Good morning, everyone. Morning,
Good
Mina.
morning.
Good morning. Uh, so today we have Darryl D'Souza over here. He's a well-known name, and I'm Meenam Malhotra. I'm representing Madhouse to Mudhouse, and really privileged to tell you everybody that Darryl D'Souza has joined us as an integral member of Madhouse to Mudhouse. So I have known Darryl for the last 10 years, and I have been watching his transformation journey, which is really something not short of a miracle. Darryl D'Souza's 14 years of sickness, he reversed a state of complete well-being within just a year of using integrated natural therapies, and it is a story that has inspired millions across the globe, leading to lead healthier lives. Darryl wears many hats. He's an author, an engineer, naturopath, organic farmer, environmentalist, TEDx speaker, founder of Earthkeepers Connect, and convener of the New Earth Summit, and a speaker at the World Parliaments on Spirituality. Wow, Darryl, that's a lot. On the Madhouse to Mudhouse platform, having walked the talk. Let us hear Darryl share insights of transitioning from the urban rat race to a low carbon footprint community based healthy village life with a circular green economy today. So the topic of the day in particular is transitioning from the urban rat race to a low carbon footprint. Ahead with you, Darryl.
I hope you all can see this. Meenam, can you see this picture?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. Yes.
Okay, lovely, lovely. So
Yeah, we all can.
my PowerPoint presentation is also working well. And on top is my home in Mumbai. I'm a Goan and hailing from Goa, but I spent most of my life in Mumbai, Dubai, engineering in Pune. And I used to come, every summer vacation. Our family used to come down to Goa to meet our relatives and all of that. So I've always had, 1 month experience of being in Goa. And the picture down is my house where I live in Goa right now. And this is a picture of 2010 when I decided to come to Goa. Actually, my house was collapsing and I had to rebuild it. And that's the house in the middle, and then on the left hand side there's a smaller annex over there and a storehouse behind that. So I want to share about why I did this transition. um, so I started out in the field of engineering, supply chain engineering, complex manufacturing, and so it was more of production of industrial goods. And in that uh, experience, I had reached quite a good level of excellence, doing amazing projects in India. And finally, I was at the level of head of department and then up for CEO of a company where then I realized I'm going to be heading the company, looking at the growth of the company, even the overlooking the what's happening with the finances and all of that. And I said, yes, it's an interesting thing to do. But in the background, I also was having a different experience in my own personal life. So I experienced sicknesses right from the age of 20. In fact, it started in my engineering college with pneumonia, where I was coughing blood and could not breathe. An emergency at night, the doctor had to come over to my house and give me some heavy injections because I was not going to survive till the morning. And after that experience, of course, antibiotics started in my life for the first time. And then I had another experience of, in a visit in Goa, I went and drank mountain water in the rainy season. And because I was used to drinking that spring water every summer, so I didn't realize in the rainy season that spring was part of a hill, and all the hill water was also coming into the spring. And in that water, of course, there was the traces of the feces or urine of, we had wild boars then, foxes also then. So you can imagine all the other pythons, snakes, and rats and whatnot. So from that experience, I got very sick. I got amoebiasis, amoebic colitis. After a few years, fungal growth in my intestine, skin allergies. I was first of all being treated by allopathy, and it was failing me. Skin allergies were so bad that finally, in about 2004 November, I had to leave work because all of my medications were making me very drowsy, and I could not work. It was so bad that at one point of time I couldn't even wear clothes, and I couldn't eat food because everything would be irritating me. And at that time, and besides allopathy, I also used Ayurveda, homeopathy, creams and lotions, and I went to healers, and I did a lot of prayers, but nothing would save me till a point that I was almost dying. November 2004. And then I came across integrative natural therapies, and it first started with acupressure, uh, uh, organ cleanses with natural herbs, and making changes in my diet. And right from the time I started that regimen, within 1 week my illnesses and my allergies and my medication started coming down. So this was the second experience that was happening to me in the background. And from that, I realized that natural systems and natural substances are the real medicine and the real food. And food also should be healthy. So when I came to realize that, I recovered just within 6 months of this treatment. I recovered completely, and then a little bit of dietary changes. It took me into a whole year. After that, I started treating people myself because I had that experience of how to do this. And I had studied 2, 3 books. And my first books was Health in Your Hands by Dr. Devendra Vora, volume 1 and 2. And then some more books on naturopathy. And I went back actually to my corporate life. And I used to work full time and treat patients on Saturday or Sunday. I did that for 5 years, from 2005 to 2010, simply because I thought it was something really amazing that I had experienced. And I had seen that for over 14 years. Okay, so that was from 1990 to 2004. I had tried all the conventional medicine systems and therapies, and they had not worked. So when I found this formula for rescuing and saving my life, then I said I should give it to other people also. So on a personal basis, I used to treat just one, two. First, it started with friends and family members, then neighbors. When the word went out that um, Darryl is not giving medicines, and he's not telling you to go here and there. He's just giving you some simple things that you just go to your banya shop, and you'll get neem, or you'll get tulsi, things like that. Um, so then after that fire experience, I came to a bigger understanding about health and healthy food um, and life in general. And I saw this vision that you cannot really live. From where are you going to get healthy food, organic food? We weren't getting it in, Mumbai. So that picture that you see in front is Nazarene Apartments on Marway Road. And now at least this that picture was 10 years back. Okay, and now the terrace is full of these mobile towers. And my flat is on the right hand side top, the terrace flat. So people from the next wing already started a few years back, about 3, 4 years back, started experiencing bad radiation, and they sold their flats and went off. So at that point in 2010, I decided to write a book. Many of you know about it. It's called Become Healthy or Extinct. And it teaches how to reverse chronic illnesses like high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, hormonal imbalance, arthritis, you name it. Even teaches you how to reverse certain cancers on your own. Um, so I had this need to write this book, and I also realized that living in a flat in Mumbai is not going to allow me to regular, uh, a good environment and good food. So that's when I decided to come to Goa. Now, I will just share a little bit about what's wrong with living in a city or a building like this, just the negative aspects. Of course, many people know the positive aspects that, you have a lot of neighbors, you have, so much of many conveniences. But in the name of conveniences, what are we actually getting? One convenience can be that, oh, we get, food delivered to the house. We don't even have to go shopping outside, right? From where do you get those foods? That's the question. And what is the quality of those foods? Are they natural? And most people are getting, so much of processed and packaged foods in these cities because they don't have access to fresh or organic food. And even the concept of food is totally warped nowadays, where I think in cities like this, people are eating at somewhere close to 70% processed or packaged food, and hardly, only 30% fresh food. So I will first talk about uh, why I left the city. Now, since I come from a background of naturopathy and integrative natural medicine, people are experiencing some problems in the city nowadays. For example, lack of vitamin D, or less in vitamin B12. They are having digestive disorders. They're having more joint pains and inflammation and arthritis. And of course, in the city, the common negatives are uh, air pollution, too much of traffic on the roads, congestion in many places, noise pollution. And besides that, the unseen factors are these. Okay, if you're going to live in a flat, then you aren't going to get natural sunlight. You spend most of your time with footwear, and that insulates your feet from the earth, from the ground. And there's a complete science called earthing, and there's an earthing institute also. In my book on health, it explains that how we need to be bare feet for quite some time so that negative ions from the earth can come and neutralize free radicals in our body, because free radicals in our body, they cause inflammation in the intestine, in the gut, in the joints. Now, how do you get these free radicals? They come mostly from packaged and processed foods. That's one thing. Natural free radicals come even through, uh, you lose electrons even when you exercise. Now, what we know as modern life and its conveniences, there is a history to it. So our origins, human beings' origins, we started in a natural environment where we were living on, the ground, and on a single level home. And even before we built houses like this, what you can see in my presentation down, um, human beings were built of the five elements, which are earth, water, fire, air, and space. And this is more technically explained in my book. Even how from your first meal, mother's breast milk, it has also got the five elements. But the water element is the highest. The next is the earth element. The third is the fire element, and then space, air and space. So we come from that natural constitution of the elements. And when we get into houses, when we get into buildings, when we put on air conditioning, which is air that has got much less moisture. So you're robbing moisture from your body on, just by being in an air conditioned room. I know about that because I've been an HVAC engineer, and I've done very technical projects for companies where we monitor humidity in a very detailed way. So in city life, you have these problems too. It's an unnatural environment for the human body. You are going to have, inflammation in your system. If you don't get earthing and grounding, you are going to be lacking in vitamin D because of lack of sunlight. You're going to have vitamin B12 deficiency also because uh, vitamin B12, the bacteria that produce vitamin B12, they actually originate in rainwater. Then they It's there in brooks, ponds, lakes, goes into the ground. From the ground, it comes through the soil into plants. And then those people who are eating some amount of organic raw plants or, fruits or vegetables or leaves and salads, they will get those strains of bacteria. Now, the water, piped water that you get in a building like this in a metro city is all chlorinated water, and are no strains of healthy bacteria in them. Okay, so you are drinking dead water. But when you come to a village like this and you have a well next to you, you have an option of having real water which is meant for human beings, which keeps human beings healthy. So these are just few of the points, and I have said in the past that our concrete jungles, like our metros, are going to be the graveyards of humanity, and we are seeing people become more and more sick in these environments. So my basic was that, how can I do any further work or teach about a natural environment unless I go and I live in one and I experience one, experience it. And from those experiences, I have to do more detailed experimentations. And that's the reason I came to my house in Goa. And so it was at the peak of my engineering when I was earning the highest salary I had ever earned in my life. And my colleagues and friends, even for my engineering, they thought that was the most disastrous thing that I was going to do. And because they had heard of people migrating from Goa and going to Portugal and going to Canada, USA, UK, all over the world. And they said, you're going to ruin yourself. There's nothing there in the village. But my agenda of teaching about healthy food, healthy life, healthy environment, and also then growing my own food. Of course, you cannot, grow your own food staying in a building like that. And people who have no option, of course, they're trying to do it in small pots and all of that. But that's a very limited thing you can do. So I came to the village, and I thought, for a whole year that I would not be able to earn any money. And so I kept money in my bank, and I said, I'll live off interest. Uh, but to my surprise, as I came and I started doing things, of course, I had already a skill set where I started teaching people about health. And in 2011, in my home, I wrote my book, Become Healthy or Extinct. And I was treating people around the place. So income started within 6 months itself. Now, I remember a conversation with a friend who had come, attended my workshop in Delhi, and there were three brothers. I don't know if he may be on this call. He's also got into organic farming and supplying people organic food now. His name is Rohit Miglani. And after the workshop got over, all the three brothers came and met me, and they said, we come from a corporate background, and you have taught us about eating fresh food, growing your own food, and all of that. But you see, we are living in the city, and we don't mind. How about you? If you've decided to live in the village, uh, can you send us, fresh food, fresh fruits and vegetables on a regular basis? So I said, I'm staying in Goa and you're in Delhi. They said no problem, even if it's in from Goa or somewhere close to Delhi, we don't mind paying for transport and all of that. So I said, see, if you want fresh food, then it should be refrigerated, so has to travel in a refrigerated van. They said no problem, we'll pay for it. So I said, you're going to get, instead of 50 rupees a kilo of tomato, you're going to get it at 200. They said, yeah, uh, that's fine. We will pay. If it's going to be for our health, we'll pay for it. Then my next question is, where are you going to get natural vitamin D? Where are you going to get B12 from? Where are you going to have less air pollution? And, you know, all those other parameters. Well, then they said that, yeah, we are not going to get that in the city. But you see, we can't leave the city because we're not going to get our jobs. we're not going to get this salary, you know. So then I just explained and I said that, I said, now in the village, I'm earning twice or sometimes thrice my monthly package that I was getting in Bombay. So then he said, is that so, and maybe you're lucky, I said, no, everybody can do it. You have to orient yourself, towards that. And then they would say, but leave city life and go to the village. I don't think, we cosmopolitan city people can do that. And I said, tell me one thing, in your, as you work day in, day out, when anybody in India, okay, anybody gets a weekend off or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, where do you go? And I said, yes, we take a picnic and we go somewhere to a natural place. So I said, yes, it's subconscious and it's a dream and it's a very big wish that people naturally like to live in organic, natural places where there is beauty and nature and peace. So I said, I know that of most people living in the city. Now the only thing is, how do we show them how to make money in the village? Well, then they thought about it and they said, yes, that is the key. And Rohit said, well, I don't even need double of my income. Even at the same income, I will come, forget that. Even at 20% lesser, I will come to the village. So that's when I realized that uh, when people come to the village, they need to have at least that much income that can support their family, also take care of their recreational needs or travel needs, and all of that. And now is a very good time in the world to do that, because all of our systems are changing. Okay, even if it's the education system, and these changes are coming because we have created a lot of problems and we are seeing symptoms of those problems that are associated with metro city development. Now, what are those problems? Somebody will get to know if they visit our website, thenewEarthSummit.com. Okay, so we had our last summit last year. I mean, year before last, in 2019 in November, and the next one in 2020 November. And there you will see us fixing all the broken systems that are destroying people's health, the environment, and the planet. Now, I'll just give you one example. Okay, I'll mention that again so our viewers can note it down. thenewEarthSummit.com. I'll just so the first time we presented 30 topics last year, and then we had a 30 topics this year also from expert speakers who have implemented the solutions. So last year we had 30 presentations, 30 speakers, and this year it happened as webinars. So on each of the webinars, there were 3 or 4 speakers. So we had about 100. Last year it was speakers only from Goa. This year we had from Goa and a few states in India and 3, 4 international speakers. Now, I'll just take one random, let's say there was a presentation of saving our oceans and coasts. Now, why do we have to do that? And Goa has got a huge coastline. Okay, even Mumbai, of course, everything on this the coastal belt. But the problem in the ocean is actually coming from cities and buildings like this. Now, this building that you see in front of me, what is its sewage system? The water, all of the toilet water and bathroom water and everything, it goes into pipes, goes into the underground, and those pipes, they finally empty out things in the sea. So you have dirty water and all sorts of liquid garbage and things dissolved in it, even oil and all of that getting into the sea and polluting the base of the sea, of the ocean. And that, as it goes out kilometers into the sea, all the corals, all the plankton and all that, they die. So Now, if you look at this house of mine down, there's another presentation which is called, um, treating our, sewage system, that is natural sewage systems, treating and recycling, reusing our gray water and black water. So gray water is, your wash basin and all of that, and black water is your toilet. Uh, so in that presentation, it is showing how a house like this, all the gray water and black water is taken into natural tanks, and over there is treated with effective microorganisms. Okay. And there are two treatment chambers. And from that, there's a beautiful system designed by Captain Joseph Lobo, who lives in India, and he's done amazing projects here, and he's working with the government also. So that water that is recycled through a small pump and through pipes, it does the watering of all the plants, and because those effective microorganisms, they break down all the water and they create it into nutrients. So it becomes very nutrient rich water. And through that piping system that just goes 1 foot below the ground, it's either up as sprinklers or feeding the roots of the plants. And all your, if you just got flower beds, or if you've got fruiting trees, vegetable trees, or just grass on your property, it all gets watered automatically. So you do not need to take even one drop of municipality water. Anyway, that water is bad for plants because it's got chlorine in it. Okay, so this, even that chlorine and everything is broken down by these microorganisms. So and once you do this system, you get healthier plants that grow faster. Now that water at the plant roots, it's all absorbed in about 1 meter. So it doesn't even go down to the well system or the water aquifer where we get our well water from. So now this model, if every house has this, all their water that they are using gets into the ground, doesn't go below 1 meter, uh, waters all their fruits, vegetables, and their flowering plants and all. So you can see it's a complete ecosystem, a cyclic thing. And none of these houses where this is installed, none of them have an overflow that will go into any piping system and contaminate the ocean. Okay, so this planet is suffering from, I just give you one cycle here, but because of this city model, there are umpteen number of problems. Now, the second one is, I've got a slide here. Let me see. Okay. The second problem I want to talk about is this. You can see that this is our food supply chain. Okay, you can see there's a farm, there's a farmhouse, there are animals, food is produced, then it is transported, then it comes to warehouses in between, then from the warehouses it comes into retail stores, then from retail stores it is coming into the home, or it is going into restaurants, and that's where it's consumed. Okay, and so this is what we are doing, meaning that we are, these homes are the that dining table and the restaurant, you can consider that as the metro city, and that place where the farm is the starting of the food supply chain. Okay, that's in the village. So we have separated our villages where food is grown and put such a big distance between that and the concrete jungles where we live. So first of all, food has to travel all the way here, and because it is going to spend a certain number of days, that's when you make processed and packaged food, where you put in things in your food, even a simple tomato, soup. I can make a tomato soup today because there are tomatoes in my garden. Okay, within half an hour it becomes a soup. So that's how fast nutrition can get to me, and that also organic. But because we live in the city, okay, so what I'm talking about is the entire model on this planet of living has got messed up, and all the problems that we see today are coming out of them. So I'll just talk about this particular set of problems from this system. Uh, so The tomato has to be put in a can because of this long food supply chain. It has to remain in that retail store for about a year, maybe till it gets picked up. So we put preservatives and stabilizers inside our processed foods. Okay, now these, without giving the chemical, name of it, I'll just tell you what a preservative is. Of course, something that such a strong chemical that defies the natural law of decomposition. Okay, when you eat something fresh, it breaks down certain bacteria and all will in your gut lining. They will break it down. Nutrients are formed, and then you get energy. But here you take a tomato soup. It's got such chemicals that block the decomposition process. And when you take it inside your body, they act against breakdown and digestive systems. They also destroy a good bacteria in your body slowly over many years. So uh, we have these kind of foods that are coming into our system just because we have separated our consumption and our food growing location. Now the next presentation, and this is what I have come to do here in Goa, where from the growing place to your table, it could be like what I'm doing today evening. I'm doing the Earthkeepers Market, Goa's first organic market, which started in 2015. So we're doing a mini market now because of the restrictions, social distancing, and all of that. But I'm harvesting things at you know this morning we harvested a few things just at 4 o'clock when the market starts. What people want, a few fresh things that are there, I will harvest, and they're probably going to make it for dinner or tomorrow for lunch. So there's hardly going to be 24 hours, by the time they eat this fresh food. So because the production place and the consumption is so close, you do not need any containers, you do not need any packaging or any processing, you do not need preservatives, stabilizers, nothing. So I wanted to say what a stabilizer is. Okay, a stabilizer is like a headmaster in that container. When the children in a classroom are fighting against each other, because that's what the preservatives and the natural things are doing. That can be, because so many artificial things are there in that can. There's a artificial, sometimes flavoring put in, artificial thing for a good fragrance, then the preservative, then the stabilizer, and uh, so these things are not there in a very natural system where you can get healthy water, healthy food. Now, the other problem that is created with this system is planetary problems. Here, I'm just talking about this choice of people living in the city and eating processed or packaged food. Who pays the price? Okay, whether it's a tin or a tetra pack, because a tin has got metal in it, right? So that comes from mining ore. Then it's got paper, which comes from cutting trees. Tetra pack also paper, cutting trees, plastic lining coming from fossil fuels. All the plastics are made from fossil fuels. Then you have to have a glass bottle. It's done from mining sand from our seashores and other places. So we have all of this consumption and destruction of natural resources on the planet just because people do. I don't. I say it sometimes. People don't want to eat fresh food. They only want to eat canned food. Okay, but it's not like that. People in the city, you have to do it because that is the format. I've not touched any processed food since the time I came to Goa. So 10 years now, I'm living without any processed food, and that's given a lot of benefit to me. Many people have seen my pictures of reverse aging, and people find it very difficult to believe that I went through that transformation. And though I'm 50 years old now, most people can hardly believe it. So these are the good outcomes of choosing a natural life. So what I am talking about now is when I came to Goa, okay, and I started, I already had skill sets of teaching about health, natural medicine. And then I decided to expand my business into food because I was talking about food. So I became an organic farmer in 2015. And that's when the Earthkeepers Market also I started hosting it. Once I got into organic farming and you work with the land, then you start looking at the other problems of the land. Where's the water coming from? Is it pure or is it not? Why is the water table going down? Okay, and we're not getting enough water. uh, Bore well water is actually not the water for farming, because now you will get these perspectives only if you look at planetary ecology. And if we have to solve problems on the planet, then we have to look at planetary ecology. Okay, so all the food that's growing on this planet is growing just for a few meters, and it all comes from rainwater and the top level groundwater and brooks and streams and lakes and all of that. It is not really getting that water that goes very deep into the earth, that is mixing with strong minerals inside the earth. So that's a different kind of water. So then you will see this as I came into Goa. One of the topics on the summit is uh, rainwater harvesting. Okay, rainwater harvesting, because our water table is going down. So that's a project we're trying to implement in various places, because that's the natural water. Now you will see in the one of the ocean topics is that uh, Goa being a coastal place, the place where the ocean water level and the groundwater level meets. Once you have the groundwater level dipping because of people's consumption of too much wells and no rainwater harvesting. Now you must remember that rainwater harvesting or water getting into the earth cannot happen in a metro city, because you've concreted most of it. So even those cities are going to heat up, because the rainwater that falls on the earth and it absorbs, once it starts evaporating, it cools the earth. So entire global warming, certain percentages of global warming are coming from completely concretized and tarred cities. Okay, and so coming back to this problem, when on the land you have the water depleting and you have a coastal belt, then the sea level water is higher and the sea level water starts coming into the land. And on the coast, whichever farming belts you have, that land has got salt water, and then you can't farm on that. So we are having this project of increasing through rainwater harvesting, and especially even farms, designing contours of the farms according to the slope of the land, so that any excess the water falls on the planting beds, but the excess should be draining out automatically without any pump collection. So we follow permaculture principles, okay, that is using nature's principles and laws and the natural topography of the land to work in your favor without using much energy. So even the farmland is designed according to its slope, collecting all that water, taking to a certain place, a storage tank which you use, and overflow gets in. We try to put it in the ground, and that's how we can resurrect once again the groundwater level. So once, so all of our 30 topics of last year and this year are basically fixing all of these problems that have mainly come from this model of uh, these concrete cities and metros. And so bringing back your focus, to this picture, who wouldn't want to live in a place like this? I think you can see some dome structure, which would be a theater. There could be an education center. And that's also, when I started about 5 years back, we started talking of a eco community, or fully self-sustained, eco-friendly kind of space. And that's the theme of the New Earth Summit. What we're trying to do there is those places where at least some land is left, like Goa. We have developed a model of, and that's why it's called New Earth, because we're trying to create pockets of New Earth that are natural, organic, beautiful like this. And in places like this, there is no bar in having good, organic natural architecture, and that's one of the topics of the summit: natural homes and architecture and natural living. So you can have good education, you can have good entertainment. Of course, I already shared earlier that people's inner wish is to really live in a beautiful place. I get up in the morning, not with an alarm, but with bird calls, and with all the birds chirping around. And I go to sleep, put into a lullaby by the crickets at about 10 o'clock at night. So that is also very important for health and for peace of mind. And if you don't want to get into the space of schizophrenia and anxiety and stress and all of that, so there are more and more cases of this happening with people in the city because of this stressful city life. So this is, I came to Goa with many agendas for health, for farming, but then also I knew that I would like to set an example and, show people that it is uh, going to be better for your personal health, for your family, and for the planet if you choose a natural home with natural systems. And so, anybody who's asking me, Darrell, because people know I've been working in this space since 15 years, and they've asked me, how can we do what you have done? So, I've just started sharing out some WhatsApp messages, giving them the path. I said, first, you need to understand about, people will do something only when they feel a pain. Okay. So the reason I'm able to address some people are the people who are sick. The people who are not sick, they don't care a damn about what I've written or what I'm doing, or even if there's a wonderful lecture on health and what's healthy food, they don't care about it. They say, we're not sick, so there's I don't need to understand about diet and nutrition. So at one of the conferences here in Goa, where we put up this topic of this organic farming. So when I did the first, in fact, when I did the first New Earth Summit, one of the people who had requested to be a speaker, and I said, why don't you speak on organic farming? So he said, Darrell, do you know we did the one of the permaculture conferences of India? We did it recently, and people just don't, they listen to all of this, but they don't finally get into organic farming and all of that. Most of the people, when we do these conferences on organic farming, he said most of the people, 90% of the people we see are the organic farmers themselves, okay, who are already doing it. We see some new entrants into it, and we try to impress upon them to do this, give them all the techniques, and they go out, and within 3 to 6 months, when we check with them, not even half of them are doing anything. So hardly we have like 5, 6, percent of people getting into organic farming. So he said, I don't think there's any point in me spending my time doing that presentation because the turnout is so low. So I said, yeah, the reason why y'all are not getting conversions is because the work is being done in the wrong space. I said you'll get more organic farmers and more organic food growing if you do more health conferences on food. So for a minute, there was silence, and he was wondering, trying to figure out what I was getting at. And I said, yes, people will change because of pain. I have so many people. I had a WhatsApp group, of 256 people wanting to do organic farming, and that happened just in about 3, 4 days. And why it got filled up so fast is because most of the people were my own, people from different states in India, mainly in Goa, who knew that all of the health problems, much of the health problems could get resolved by natural organic food. So, so this is how, this finally all of this system evolves. If, and I think the New Earth Summit, is a very good place because uh, 10 presentations are wellness of mind, body, and spirit. 10 presentations and discussions or webinars on food and farming, and 10 are on environment and sustainability. taking care of your water, rainwater harvesting, and natural homes, all of that. So if you are trying to impress upon someone or tell your family person, that, leave the city and come to the village, you will not be able to convince them unless you have a planetary ecology or planetary perspective. So go to the New Earth Summit and you will see all these components of what are being fixed. And those are the components that are the new businesses. Okay, and that's what's going to make you money in the village. So in the village here, we've got all of these projects which people who have got money can invest and make companies out of them, have a labor force, and do, every house. How many, lakhs of houses are there in Goa? They should have this natural, uh, you know, water treatment and utilization system. So, and there should be rainwater harvesting everywhere. So you get an abundance of natural things here. So I just want to share a few pictures with you of my house. So you saw the first picture, right? And you can see my house here. And just because I started, you can actually see mud all over the place. And that's what people told me, Darryl, you're staying near the coast, right? Near the seashore. He said, how? That means the sand, the soil is all sand. I said, yeah, the soil is all sand. And they said, you're going to fail miserably at, doing any organic farming there because, there's sand. I said, no, you have to go and learn how to make soil. And so I'm going to show you some pictures. Okay. Imagine that this is all sand in front of my house. So if you have an intention of, growing food around your house and you get a basic set of skills, this is what you can do. And in this picture, you can still see sand around the corner. So this is the first year where I started, preparing my soil. Right on the right hand side, you can see a little bit of sand, but in the middle, you can see my soil beds, and the soil is a little bit brown. But then as you go on cultivating that and enriching the soil with composting practices and so many other tools of natural farming and permaculture, you will see this kind of transformation. So here we have got, I do a, multi cropping kind of model. Right on the right hand side, you can see some lemongrass. Just next to that, young papaya trees. First time I growing papaya trees, so uh, I placed them very close to each other. They should have been spaced out. Next to that, you see some amaranth on the back near the wall. Then there is some zucchini, pumpkin, sweet potato, and even some what do you call tainly creepers, that is, tindas growing at the side. Now this is my annex. Next to my house, I have an attachment, and here I had put drip irrigation. And by the time it grew up, I didn't even have place to walk inside. I just used to go to harvest, what is there. So I wonder who would not like something like this, a lovely house with plants all around the place where you get out every morning and you can harvest something. This is the side of my main house, all of it, growing on the wall and creeping up to the roof. All that I did is put some bamboos and tied some strings, and the creepers creep along that. Because of a limited space, you see, I have just 200 square meters around my house. So I'm trying to grow things along the ground, uh, some things that stand. That's just the starting of my pomegranate tree there, right in the middle. You can see a first small pomegranate, and then of course I take things to the roof also because of the shortage of space. And this is my backside. This is the second year once, and this is what we call a food forest. It's so dense that you have to literally sneak in between the trees to do your harvesting. And you may be able to see some purple lines. Those are 1.5 foot long string beans, purple string beans. And here we also have different creepers of pumpkin, gourd, then basil, cucumbers, and some herbs and small, even curry leaves. This is the side. So that's what I do. I don't put bamboos and all of that. I just try some very strong threads, and the plants just grow all over the place. And this is a little later next to the window. You can see in the middle down, there's a path, okay, to walk through. And those are my composting beds. I do something that's called, in situ composting. And I don't make a separate compost bed. So when you walk in the middle there are leaves, and under that, it's about 1 foot deep of compost that I get to harvest every 2 months. And it feels like you're in the early morning, it feels like you're walking in the forest. So I'm sure, any person who loves nature and wants to grow their own food would love to have a home like this. And it took me just 6 months to study from farmers who were teaching natural farming and permacultures to do all of this. And it's only as you go and do more and more of it that you will get the skills to transform sandy soil to a food forest. Now I'll just come to some practical aspects of this. Now when now we are all on this Madhouse to Mudhouse platform, uh, trying to inspire people for two reasons. One is our villages are dying because not enough of infrastructure or natural infrastructure and projects are being done in the villages. Uh, and it turns out now that those are the places with proper greenery, proper air, good water. They're not congested, and you can still have natural homes. Natural homes can be very beautiful and artistic as well, using all natural materials inside. So when I say a low carbon footprint life and a circular green economy, it is revolving around things like this. And we follow a model that's called asset based community development. So the first thing for the community is to look in their area and see what are the natural things that are available in their area. And if they are not enough, they can bring in more things. So one of the things natural to coastal places is coconut trees. Okay, and I was shocked, when I participated with five stalls on organic food products, herbal products, acupressure, and natural healing systems in this 150 years of Gandhiji that completed 2 years back. The Ayush department in Goa, they created this, the naturopathy mela at Kala Academy in Panjim. And I had five stores over there. The minister also came. He saw all of them, and he saw, of course, all the other stalls too. And at one of those counters, I could see out of coconuts, kind of a soup bowl made. Then I saw wine goblets made of, smaller coconuts when they fall. Instead of throwing them away, they just open it up, they polish it, and you can make a wine goblet out of it. And I saw three, four, even bamboo. I saw glasses, small glasses of bamboo. This came from a company in Bangalore, and that's the day I realized that there are literally coconuts falling from the sky here in Goa, and there is no flourishing industry here. You can make about 125 natural products of coconut, and there's only one company in Goa that's making some of them, Nanu Farms in South Goa. Okay, so you have this natural asset falling from the sky, and people are not making. There's no industry here of making these 125 products at a bigger scale. We should have not only been, providing them to everybody in Goa, but across the country, and they should have gone internationally also. So when things are there like this, and you see nothing is being done, you know you have a very nice potential for doing certain things. Now even cashew nuts, right? Cashew was not a natural plant of Goa. It was brought by the Portuguese and planted all over the place. Okay, so you can get a lot of natural food that matches this temperature and weather patterns and environment, and grow them in your natural community.
Yes.
One very important thing what I want to share is, for natural eco communities that we are trying to develop, uh, and specifically this, one that I have also been trying to formulate, get people together, and I'm going and looking at land of the size of 500 acres and 300 acres here in North Goa. I saw one next to a dam. I mean, the dam is in the property. That's a huge property, 1,000 acres. So, of course, people cannot buy 1,000 acres because it's so expensive. It was, coming to 300 crores, I think. Um, it was a more expensive land. You get for lesser also 1,000 acres. There was one that was up for about 80 crores. And groups of people can go and develop these lands. Water body is a very important thing. So there are stages of how you develop this land. And when I start that project, it's going to be on that basis. And just to give some pointers, um, there are one of the things you need from that land is it should generate products and resources, and in turn revenue. So I have devised this model. When I'm trying to share it, open source, we're trying to make some groups so that other people can also get these ideas. Um, the first thing that you, when you get a land, is you have to look for water, and you have to start your rainwater harvesting designs, because from that you're going to be growing crops. And then you have, of course, a phase one, phase two, phase three that goes over 3 to 5 years. And the multiple incomes is even more income than organic farming and produce. Of course, first you produce for yourself and the people who are staying there. Then you produce a little extra that grows well in that state or that environment. So you can barter it with somebody else from a neighboring state who grows something else that doesn't grow so well in yours, because there may be more arid. Goa is very, rain intensive, heavy rain, and some plants don't like that in the monsoon, but you have more arid where the zones where you can grow millets. Um, so in these communities, more than organic farming, because I work with integrative natural wellness, is wellness tourism. And this is, you will see a presentation of mine on the summit of wellness tourism. And that creates, we are trying to, I put forth a model of 1,000 natural integrative medicine wellness centers in Goa. How do you do that without creating any new construction or this concrete structures? You take up all the old, unmanaged, half dilapidated or unused Portuguese villas in Goa that have a big hall, and that have, the Goa houses, they have big halls, and they have sometimes 4, 5, 6, 7 bedrooms, the older houses. And that can be converted into a wellness center if it's not being used. Even if people are staying in that, they can use a certain part of it, a couple of 2, 3 bedrooms for themselves. And they can give the hall, where the halls are so big that you can sit even 60, 70 people in it. So it becomes an education center plus a wellness center with consulting rooms and all of that. Local people will get rental income for using that place. Local people will get employed, and because we use natural therapies, it doesn't really take 3 years to learn yoga or diet, nutrition, detox, acupressure. I can give you at least 100 therapies of which you can make money and get employed, and you can learn that within 6 months and be an expert. So this is just a few of the benefits: rental income to locals, then local employment. When you run a wellness center, then you have got maintenance staff, cleaning staff, and all that. Then because it's wellness tourism, that means now these 1,000 wellness centers are a better idea than mohalla clinics, which are using allopathy medicine and allopathic pills for high BP, cholesterol, diabetes. Everybody in the world knows now they do not cure you. They only take money from you, and those goes to big pharma companies. And because this has happened for the last 90 years, we have the biggest cartel, money cartel on the planet, which is called big pharma, and they are the ones imposing vaccines. They're trying to impose vaccines on all of us across the world now, even though a lot of evidence is coming that uh, the actual virus is not really hitting so many people. What is actually hitting people are infections of pneumonia, TB, asthma, and all of that. And so many countries across the world, the number of people who have died in December, that even if India, now the statistics are not openly available because they're mainly with government departments, and government departments are not showing that statistic. And you will see that the number of deaths in a particular month of 2020, total number of deaths, it is lesser in 2020 than the previous year of the same month. And that's happening in most countries. But what have they done? Everybody who's dying of, a breathing problem, pneumonia, TB, asthma, half of the deaths that are going to happen at the last stage of death, a person is going to be breathless. They're putting all of those people as COVID patients. So um, we so instead of these mohalla clinics which are using medicine that does not cure, we should use integrative natural medicine that actually cures. And of course, yoga, naturopathy, natural exercise, herbs for healing, detox therapies, diet and nutrition, and so many other therapies are part of integrative natural medicine. So that for me in a community, that because we know the number of people who are sick in the world today, and by the way, health is the biggest emergency across this entire planet right now. So you can make a business of it with integrative natural therapy, or if you don't do that, you will see vaccines becoming the biggest business on this planet, where every single person, 7.5 billion people, they are going to get poked thrice a year as vaccine, viruses mutate. Uh, so it is like for an Indian now that average price of the vaccine is 1,000 rupees. So 3,000 rupees per year of 7.5 billion people across the planet. This is the real business that is being pushed. And for people like me and probably 1,000 integrative natural medicine practitioners across the globe who have over the last 20 years treated about 100 million people, people who started with me in 2005, 2006, 7, they have been off medicines right since that time. So, this is, so there's a lot of reality and evidence that these systems work. They increase your immunity to, natural therapies, increase your immunity to a high level so that you don't succumb to, let the virus mutate and all of that. It's not going to touch you, or nothing's going to happen to you if you have high immunity. An article of this came out in mine in the month of May last year in the Goa newspapers. So, so like this, integrative natural medicine, a business opportunity, then renting out your old home. Now, this is not only for Goa; it can happen anywhere across the country. So, this is what I'm trying to impress people to do, impress upon them, is that there is a failing model of sickness, pollution, stress, working like a slave in a cosmopolitan city for somebody, not having the joy at the end of the day. And that's a different model. And if you come into the village, you have multiple business opportunities, and everything that's wrong and broken in the old system is emerging with a eco-friendly, clean, green and clean alternative system. So it's there in, like I said, in all the water projects, in the natural food and farming projects. It's there in natural homes. It's there in renewable energy. It's there in people taking tours of natural, the, the the culture of Goa. And on the New Earth Summit website, you will see one presentation called Local and Sustainable Jobs. Okay, reviving local and sustainable jobs. In there, we have given 10 new emerging, and that will last forever, right? Job and income and business opportunities. So that's a very important component, you see, because people in the cities, one good thing about people in the cities is they are well educated, they are well connected, they know what's happening in the world, and they know these problems. And they also are looking at the science of healthy food, alternative energy systems. So they have the know how and the tech. And they are in a place where they are frustrated and they are sick with the city. So we have to, bring them and show them the the organic opportunities in a village. And finally, um, if you it's very difficult to redo an entire concrete jungle, because you're not going to be able to. The first thing is that why break it? Let it serve its life. The building, let it serve its life for 50 years, and then we will see what to do. I mean, you have literally to uproot that entire concrete city and I don't know what, take it into the sky, put it on Mars or something. Then you'll be able to do a grassroots natural system. So because we can't do that, the biggest call I'm making up to people now is, please look at the villages, go to the villages. And now in the villages, there are so many villages that need help, that have people, that have science, that have the natural sciences. We should go and we should help them revive that. We should, if water is less, we should teach them how to do rainwater harvesting, rebuild natural homes, go and, live over there, become part of the community. And because we have the science and tech, we should be the businessmen over there, giving them jobs and employment and, rebuilding uh, those areas. So like I have been experiencing over the last 10 years. It's amazing. We are doing amazing work, having amazing experiences. We are having amazing health. And there's a lot of, education. And another thing is education. Now, in this picture that you're seeing in front of me, imagine it's an eco community and you have created some simple structures. Maybe you can have an education center because people are going to stay there with children. So you have a web-based learning and experiential based learning like Waldorf or Steiner education. And the real learning happens only in nature. That is where the soil teaches you, where the plants teach you, where the animals teach you, where the environment teaches you lessons. Okay, and these lessons were not learned, they cannot be learned in laboratories. That's the second biggest mistake, this species is doing on the planet, our species. So um, now so the last closing statement I will make, and of course, then we'll open for question and answers with the audience. And I would like to get, some questions, and people will have, different things to ask in detail. That's when we'll get into details. But what I see, I want to close by saying, what I see is that emerging over the next few decades, I see an exodus happening from these concrete spaces. First, by the smarter people or people are thinking more that, no, I want fresh air. No, I want a natural life. I want a natural home. I want natural water. I want a scenic place. How about, can I live in the place that I go to picnic at? Okay. So those people having the most guts and the most innovative ideas, they will be the first movers. They will be the people who are going to set up the businesses first. So if you have these ideas, know that there is a lot of money to be made in very healthy projects and in doing the projects that rejuvenate the entire earth. So that's what a project and summit is about. The New Earth Summit is trying to give sciences open, open source sciences. So all our videos you can download and watch. They're on YouTube actually, and get all of this information. So I left one point in between, which was when people were asking me, Dal, how can we do what you're doing? So I said, okay, I have this WhatsApp message that I have made, and I finally decided on my website to put just one tab called University, okay, which I hope will become bigger later. But I said, here are the things. First, you read my book, Become Healthy or Extinct, because there talks about how to cure all of these illnesses. It also talks about food and farming a little bit, uh, and gives the basic principles of a healthy community. So I said, first you go and read that book. That's a deeper level of science. In fact, I have been asked by schools in Goa and at once and in Delhi also by the Indian Air Force. So they said this book should be in our schools. Can you make a simpler version of it that goes into schools? And I said, yeah, is that so? He said, yes, this education is fundamental to life itself. So I tell people that's the first thing you should read. Then after that, you go and do my online health workshop. We'll get more practical experience. Then watch my YouTube videos where I talk of all these topics and how these things can be done. And then I said you have to visit the New Earth Summit because it's not just me. It's about 150 experts giving the that's what New Earth Summit tagline is. Um, uh, India's first integrated summit on solutions to our problems in health, food, farming, and environment. Okay. So I said, go and see those videos. And that's when people see that, then what starts to emerge in their mind is the whole picture. And then they will find how they can do what they want to do, which part of the place. Do they want to grow foods themselves? Or do they want to be people who process the foods and give it to the community or market it or create the water systems, the piping systems, or organic, energy systems for it? So from my side, I can tell you, it is the most amazing, most intellectual, and it beats. For me, it beats, even being an astronaut and going to the moon or Saturn and coming back. What the sciences that are there with health, with soil, with natural living, it's amazing. So that's my invite to people to take the plunge into this very, interesting uh, and future of this planet. And there is some reverse engineering kind of thing happening, with Mr. Rupesh Rai, who had started off with in this space with rescuing the ghost towns of in Rajasthan, right? Uh, because people had an exodus from there, seeing promises of being in a city, getting a good job, and all of those things. Now, enough of people have gone in the city. They played out the model. That city life has become so destructive that it's damaging the entire planet. Now we will see a reverse, engineering happening. That is an exodus from there by people. So there'll be first phase, second phase, third phase, and after some time, after a few decades, those will be ghost towns, the concrete jungles, right? So be a smart person, follow your heart, go for what you want, and come and be part of this amazing movement. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I will stop the screen share and we'll open for Q&A. And I'm just, yes, so I request audience, whoever's here to unmute yourself. And I will also just get into the view where I can see everybody. That is the gallery view.
Yeah, hi Darryl.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to know if there's any eco home village community coming up in Goa which one can look at.
So right now we don't have a community that is already there and ready. A lot of people are trying to set it up. Some people are starting with some small homestays. Um, and just tomorrow I'll be going to a very nice place. It's a farm, and they grow medicinal herbs. It's called Samata Farms in Arambol. I'm going to be spending the day there tomorrow. I had already been twice over there. Um, and it's like a resort plus they have a farm. So more and more people are getting into this space, and if it's not there and it's not ready, that just tells you the business opportunity that is open. Now, even for a place that's 100 acres, perhaps that's what I'm thinking for this 500 acres. My idea is that how can I go and speak to that person? So this is a very important principle. Okay, I just want to share with you all. If somebody's got 500 acres, my intention is to go and speak with that person and make a proposal, because this whole community is going to happen in a stage-wise manner. So I'm just going to propose to him, how about 10% of your land? How about we do a project on that first? And are you open to sell 10% of your land? And of course, you will be paid for it. So with that 10%, our first team, whether it's 20, 30, organic farmers, doctors, healers, therapists, technicians, energy people, an IT guy, and all of that, that require to set up a community, uh, can they buy a place and can they make that natural home? So everything is going to be designed by principles that we have showed on the New Earth Summit, and the best, you know, uh, uh, natural systems in the world. So first the design will be made on that, and then the phase wise. So when you go into a space, like I said earlier, you've got to look at the water. So first project is rainwater harvesting, then farming, and when farm and food starts getting produced, then by that time your natural home should be in place, and then people can live over there. And so my proposal is, my idea is that if it's a very big place, I'll talk to that person and figure out, can we buy 50 acres of your land, and we will have in phase one we'll take 10 acres, in phase two we'll take, let's whatever, three phases or something, and from that money that you put into it, right? On that same space, we can create the education center, we'll create a school, all of those things. And then, of course, later you'll create spaces for other people to live, which is the wellness tourism model, where people will come and stay. I've done 1 week retreats here in Goa, health retreats, mind, body, spirit retreats. So you can have spaces where you are having people come into wellness tourism, staying from your city, from other cities in India, from international tourists, okay, for just a 1 day program or 3 days or 1 week, 21 days, 30 days. So you're going to get rental incomes, you're going to get therapy and treatment. And when people come there, they are going to get educational services, they're going to get recreational services, touring the place, and so many things. So it is like, how about forming a trust, you know? And my question to that person, the rest of the 90% of your land, you're going to sell it, and out of that money, what are you going to do? You want to buy a car of BMW or a Rolls Royce, that's fine. But besides that, you're going to take that money and do what of it? So they're probably going to say, the rest of the land, I want to sell it to this, or I'll make this industry, or I'll make that money. Our dialogue should be, uh, if this whole land that we are developing, first of all, its value is going to go up, and the project and the resources and the natural businesses that we'll create in this land, that is your business. Instead of selling out this to make some, and we have to give them a talk on this, carbon footprint, the money that you're going to sell to which industry, what are you thinking in your mind? You're going to make this kind of plant, that kind of pharmaceutical industry, you're going to give them a space. Who are you giving it to, and what is going to come of this thing that is yours? Are you contributing to the future of this planet that is good, or are you contributing to a project that's going to destroy this thing, this whole planet, slowly? And I'm sure if we do a good dialogue, and that's what I intend to do, is showing these people that, let us go forward with this. We will use 10% of your land first, and then we'll see how it works in your land. And your land, we're going to make it into a great resource. Now, another key thing that I want to share is, because of the current financial system in the world today, okay, because things are so rocky and banks are collapsing, then I thought, let me buy gold. And so I'm talking about real assets now. This is very interesting. uh, so we could buy gold only till 5 years back. There's no more real gold lying around over there. So money, isn't it backed by gold? No, it's not backed by gold, and that's why banks are collapsing. So this paper money is something that is becoming fake. So people went into cryptocurrency. I also just recently just took 1,000 rupees. Okay, this is just a month back. I think it's 25 days. 25 days, I purchased my first fraction of Bitcoin. I put 1,000 rupees into the system. Okay, uh, some percentage went, I think 30 rupees, so 970 it showed. Then after some days, it dropped a little bit to 930 and all of that. Okay, and on 20 days, that currency it came to 2,000. So 100% profit in 25 days. Now, I know there's something really wrong with when something happens like this. This is the first debate I had with an expert who got an award for blockchain technology and all that. I sat with him for half an hour trying to understand how does cryptocurrency actually represent real assets. And he gave me this explanation, that explanation, but I'm a person who works with grassroots of everything. So I could not understand. I said, still it doesn't represent. So I had a doubt about that. That was a 2 year back conversation. And when something jumps 100% without the corresponding assets increasing, now what are real assets? So that's what I wanted to talk. Okay, I sold my that fraction of the Bitcoin that I had. I sold it yesterday because I said this is not real money. Okay, and Ethereum, which was a cryptocurrency, a friend of mine bought it, and now that disappeared. He's lost all his money because the originators of that Ethereum thing can't be found anywhere in the world. So, what is real currency? We're looking at real assets, and one of the main assets you won't believe is plants. So, if you have 100 acre land and you have got some plants on it, and if you develop it, that's the value of your land. So anybody asks you, on 100 acres, what do you have? You will say, we got 1,000 teak trees. Convert the teak trees into furniture and all of that. That is the value of that one asset. Then we are creating so much of food and this and that. So we're creating foods, vegetables, pulses, this, that. So at any point of time, that is the just the tree or the plant, let's say plant-based asset that is real. Now you can convert it into a currency that is called stones, and just stones. But you have a ledger that shows one stone is equal to this much, and we are saying we have 1,000 stones because it represents so much in the monetary world, but it represents in our system, it represents 1,000 teak trees. And we have to remember plants are renewable resources. Give you a simple example. You take out iron ore for the earth and you make a cast iron chair. Okay, you make some iron thing. That thing with the environment and all that, maybe in 100 years or 200 years, that iron chair is going to get bad and then it's no use anymore. It's going to rust or something like that. But if you had taken a certain size of one tree, you would have made 3 chairs out of it. Now the 3 chairs, maybe they last for 100 years, but after that 100 years, you planted some more trees. So that means you can have 3 wooden chairs in place of one cast iron chair. You can have three chairs for 2,000 years because these are regenerating assets, right? The sun gives it energy, and these plants in the soil, they work with it. So for me, that is real assets. Your money system or local currency should reflect real assets in your system. And I think this is where the world is going. It has already started. And so then on your land, there are some minerals in your land that will also come in your ledger of what is your currency based on the people and all the services, this wellness centers, the structures, the natural homes, everything on that land. It becomes that is the only real thing that you have as asset. And I'm just telling people that, you know, like government has banned us buying and selling gold. I mean, the at least the banks, they won't buy or sell gold. Okay, so for some reason that is frozen. For some reason, if our paper money suddenly it's not valid anymore. If this cryptocurrency disappears, what do you need in life to live? Basic. Look at Maslow's hierarchy. Basic is you need food, you need a natural home, you need groundwater. If you're a tech person, you need some way of connecting. I've got a 10-year back. I bought one small like mobile phone. It is a sun. It picks up the sun. There are few panels. It can charge 4 batteries. It can charge my cell phone. Since 10 years, it is still working. Okay, so if you have devices like that, you can be off the grid. You can have your cell phone charged. You could be connected in some way to the internet and all of that. So we have to look right now on this planet, because there's such volatile changes happening. We have to look at the basics. What are the basics of life? Basics of life is water, food, home, things that you can make clothes out of, even hemp. Hemp is it's like the coconut tree. You can make about 60 to 70 products of hemp. You can make, I've got bags, my backpack is of hemp. You can make clothes of hemp. You can make bricks. Of course it becomes very costly, but you can make bricks of hemp. The oil, which is CBD oil, it's used for health healing for cancer patients. Okay, so many but medicinal variety, medicinal uses of hemp, and that is that ABCD, asset-based community development. What are the assets that you are going to create on your land that are permanent and renewable in nature? At the top of the line comes plants. Okay, that's the biggest asset and a renewable asset, and you can increase it, right? Instead of 1,000 teak trees, you can have 3,000 teak trees. So some people just doing work in the right seasons of the year when the rain falls, you can increase your entire asset value. And when all of this money is gone, people will be doing a barter. People will, when nothing exists, people will be doing a barter. You will be, your community will run well because you have got exchange. Your exchange is all plant produced. Your exchange is science and technology. You will become a teacher one day of how to set up these communities. So you will be getting barter from somewhere else, food, because you are teaching somebody else how to set up this community. So plants and science, those are the biggest real assets. And people and the community, the way the community works in an organic way, those are the real sciences that are going to have value in the world now.
Namaskaram, Darryl. Rohit here. Very inspiring. In fact, I have attended one of your session 2 years back in Bangalore.
Okay, Rohit.
So very it resonates what I'm actually a volunteer, right? And what you're talking is makes very much sense. I'm a volunteer for Rally for Rivers. You would have heard. So,
Yes.
What you spoke is the real asset is the trees, plants, and that is what we are also kind of encouraging farmers to go and right. So how do we? I mean, you were talking about community farming and bringing the like-minded people together and sort of see how we can do farming together, and then generate employment and of course elevate the economic status of that particular community. So can we also look at the farmer producer organizations, but that will be in a large scale. How about people who are in a small scale, who don't have much land? How do we go about that?
Yeah, so even the smallest, plot of land. Now, one thing in real need in the world today is medicinal plants and aromatherapy. You see, aromatherapy is a very deep therapy. It can take care of so many, anxiety issues, lot of, mental problems, digestive issues. I'm selling about 1 dozen herbal teas like, lavender, chamomile, hibiscus, rhododendron, uh, then moringa, tulsi, lemongrass, so many things. So these two aspects, okay, herbal teas. Second is herbs for healing. Third is supplements. Everybody's taking so many supplements. So you grow those plants which are, nutrient dense. And the fourth was what? Of course, this is besides the normal food that you grow. So now in my around my house, I just have 200 square meters where I'm growing. Of course, I got an ancestral plot that is 600 square meters, and if you want to convert it to square feet, it's just I think 1.1, so 6,600. But around my house is just 2,500, square feet. In that, I'm growing 25 different types of fruits and vegetables. So I have my choice to make. I'm growing oregano, okay, which is a herb. Now it is also garnishing. for dishes. You all know Italian dishes and so many recipes across the world use oregano. It's also medicinal in nature. So this is what we can do. Even if you have the smallest piece of land, okay, just do these things. It's not just for me watching, reading my book and watching my, doing my health workshop. You will have other options too, but stick to integrative natural medicine and therapy. So that is the first asset that you get. So suppose you got 10 people, okay, you have 10 people in a small community. That's like maybe 2 acres. So 2 acres is 8,800 square meters. Okay. Now over there, you have all the basic components necessary. So should be a defining line. What are the basic components necessary for life and necessary for all of this? So you got to have a integrated natural medicine practitioner. You got to have a person who's doing food and farming. You got to do have a person who has natural homes. You got to have at least one IT guy who will see the current IT systems and change it accordingly. So yesterday, a young man, he just on Instagram, he says, Darryl ji, I've read your book and it's so amazing. But I'm living with, I'm studying and I want to be a computer engineer. I've got this book, I've got in marketing and all. That's my area. How can I live without Wi-Fi, without mobiles, without all of this? So I said, very simple. What I've done is, because in my book I've said get off EMFs because they damage the human body in the long term. It's a 5G is a little harsher version of 4G and all of these things. Okay. So I said, see, all that you need is one uh, physical cable coming to your home. And from that box, like we had in old times, you have a LAN cable going to your computer. So there's no Wi-Fi in your house. And then 10 years back, I remember I bought this Skype IP phone. Okay. You just plug it into the internet with a cord, and I could call anybody in the world who had an IP, Skype address. So I said, you as long as you're in your home, you just use the Skype phone. And I said, mobile has to be used only when mobile. That means when you're in the car driving or when you're on the bike. Do you want to be talking when you're driving on the bike or car? It's not a safe thing. So I said, you actually don't need a mobile also. So you need IT people like this who will respect this natural thing and figure out how to get some power to the sun or whatever and how to kind of connect the community because that's become a modern necessity. Even though we may have 10 houses separate, we would at least like one panel where we can say hi, hello to somebody without, because there's no mobile network, there's no, MTNL or BSNL phone system. So that's why you need an IT guy. So, so I think just by, 10, 12 families, husband, wife, and whether there are children also, in just 1, 2 acres of land, building your natural homes, you need to have the natural skill sets. So that's the way to start. And before you go to set up there, just make sure every person has at least 2 skill sets. Health, any of these. You see, you do learn natural therapies, plus you learn a little thing about natural homes. Or if you're a tech savvy person or a science savvy person, you learn something about natural energy systems. How can you harvest? Now, even with these solar panels, we know that solar panels after 25 years, those panels are going to be lying over there, right? And then our next generation is going to curse us that hardly 20% of this is going to be recycled. Look at my father, grandfather, they were idiots. Now they've left so many tons on this planet for us. We know that's going to happen, even of the windmills. But we have seen natural, hydraulic water. We've seen natural water turbines making this, and we see natural windmills of natural material. So you need some science guy who will look at this also. And I know that if you are creating a lot of rainwater harvesting and all, it has to be designed in a way where you have some. If the land is like that, you can have steps of falling down of the sloping land where you can allow water to fall, have a small water turbine, and generate energy of that on that. So I hope that answers the question. Even if you have a small land and a small community, the first is look at the New Earth Summit and look at all of these, communities that have done it themselves. There's a wonderful community in Spain called Damanhur, where you can go DA. The website is damanhur.org. I'm spelling it out again. damanhur.org. I've met those people. I'm in touch with them through webinars. They have created that place, once you go to it, you will call it like a heavenly place. You will forget every metro city and a 25-story or 50-story building that you ever went in. You'll forget all about that because so natural, organic, and beautiful. And they have made a currency that is at par with the euro. This is a 40-year-old community, and they got an award also for it. So yeah, so my point of this was look at such websites and look at the basic components of what you need. The people who go to set up, they should have that skill set. So you are not paying, somebody else to come and do it. I think that's the way to start. And the second thing, low carbon footprint, is this asset-based community development. See what you can build. And the main thing is that how you create food in that space and how from the food to the table, it's just like half a day, 1 day, right? So you have fresh, very healthy food and you don't need any packaging systems and all that. Here, that's what we try to do. Our organic farmers, they grow for themselves. And whatever excess produce is there, we bring it on the market in the evening.
Great. Thank you very much, Darryl.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else with some ideas or questions?
Well, while we wait for questions, I think people to form questions or whatever, Darryl, on behalf of Madhouse to Mudhouse and our natural and the Bakri Shah brands, I'd like to thank you for this inspiring session. I think we've all learned a lot. We've got very similar principles that we work on. So, exactly what we're trying to do with Madhouse to Mudhouse is to bring the urban community into the rural environment, give them that new life, which is what you're working on. So,
yes.
Rupesh has done some wonderful work in Uttarakhand and other areas. The plan is to expand it to the whole world. Across, let's say, these 100 villages in India and so on and so forth. And you're doing that in Goa. So I think collaborating will be great for us. And for people who had these questions as to where they can, if they want this kind of opportunity, where do they get that? And I think Meenamji mentioned that if they can link up with us, link up with you or us together or whatever, and we can bring people a bit of joy. You're lucky to have had the opportunity and live a life that you like. Many of us still aspire to do that, and the idea is to try and get there at some point. One small question to you also is this whole concept of hydroponic farming.
Yes.
You were talking of minerals from the earth, the soil, and so on and so forth. Does that make good sense, or it's a bit of not so good?
So I'll comment on that, but as you were speaking, I thought of 2-3 things from what you said. So the key, like you said, many of us aspire to do that. So the key starting point is if you're sitting in the urban space and you're looking at getting to the village, the first question you should ask is, because I've explained this thing of barter, right? The fine thing is going to be barter. You should ask yourself, what capacity or learning or skill set do I have today that is going to be of value in that space?
Correct.
If you don't have a skill set, you please build at least 2 skill sets. Okay? Then you go into any space, you are an asset to them and work is going to happen. And for what you give, you're going to get back and you're going to create the community. So that's the first question people should ask themselves. The second is, yes, hydroponics. I have seen, wonderful outputs of hydroponics which are, like a lot of all of the plants, you see, they come out equally in the same shape and size because of the fluid that's flowing with the nutrients. They all get the equal nutrients. But in the land, you may have some spot that has got a little less nutrients and something more. But I have seen overall with hydroponics, the startup cost is pretty high because of the piping and all of that. And when you talk of plastic pipes and this and that, that's a negative carbon footprint thing for me. Yeah. So I look at when I do on my land, I look at there are many videos going out from Indians today, 3 layer level of farming, 5 layers of farming in that same space. I've managed to do at least 3 layers. Okay. So one is a root vegetable. The next to that, there's something else which is, we harvest at this length, mostly leafy stuff, and then there are creepers going. And so in permaculture, you get all those designs. Okay. So I favor more land kind of, work, because I know it's less, it's natural farming principles.
Yeah.
And even the the organic soil and manure that I do, I don't take it from outside as much as possible. I was doing that a little bit earlier, but now once I've got my composting done, and I've got in situ composting pits. That means I've not kept 1 inch of my land, because I got, at least at my house, I just got 200 square meters. So I've not kept 1 inch for a composting pit. Okay, I have growing beds. Suppose I have a long growing bed here. Between this bed and the next bed where I walk, that's my in situ composting pit. So it's dug out, there are twigs, leaves, everything on it. So when I walk, and there are leaves on top, it's like I'm walking on the forest. So every 2-3 days we water that, and in this system I get to open it up and I get black compost within 2 months.
Super.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't take any kambas. I don't do any composting, taking things from here and there and all that, labor intensive, time intensive. No, very, very simple things we do. And as the compost starts getting created, I keep it for 3-4 days, put it in a place, and then the last, the one that I've harvested, the compost, we go and put it in that section, and we fill it up again. So it's a very continuous process. So I go with these, very natural systems of farming, not using, you know, plastic things to cover, or piping things, and unnecessary where you have to use electricity, use a pump and drive water. For me, those are all unnatural things.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will rather use slope and many natural principles to get our food produced.
Yeah, much more sustainable, definitely. Much more sustainable.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we look for fully of natural, eco-friendly, and sustainable. And yeah, so also very important thing for any community is at least putting down on paper these multiple income streams.
Yeah.
Don't go with a fixed mindset that we are going in there and we are going to do food and फिर बाद में देख लेंगे और क्या कर सकते हैं. No, you're going in there with science and technology, so already understand you're going with a body of knowledge. So think that you're making an education center there. From there, you're going to get other educated people. In 1 year's time, when you create your land and space, it will be good enough for some people just to have a day tour of your space, right? You can get day tour is no expense, just one tour person. That's the resource. Just one tour person will take them all through that, and collect 1,000 or 2,000 rupees a day, and they will eat at your place also. Yeah, so at least build in 8 to 10 income streams, right? From natural medicine, from just plain stay, from touring the place, from getting an educational program over there, right? And then I'm sure this 10-20 set of people will be very confident कि ये phase wave में करेंगे अपना इतना multiple income streams है, and they're sure to succeed if they go in with the science first and then build skill sets amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Then thanks so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I will just share one more thing. What we are doing here in Goa with the summit is we are trying to inspire both sets of people. That means the science is there for a complete green field or off-grid kind of community. But at the same time, whatever is possible in a semi-urban place also, we are trying to teach these things to people. Because if these people who are using packaged food products or, building more concrete structures and all, if we don't teach them the natural principles, right, and show them a better life, then they will continue contributing to the destruction of the planet and its natural ecosystem. So I tell people who watch the summit will said that, oh, we don't have just a plain land over here where we can build a natural home where we can do rainwater harvesting and where we can do so many things that you have said. I said anyway, out of those 30, 40 topics, do at least 10. 10 are possible in your home, right? So like this young man, take off the Wi-Fi, get the cable internet. You can do that. Reduce your toxicity. So I request people to, because of this COVID time, just go to my YouTube channel and you will see two videos. One I did in April. It had about 100 people from across the world, and then one I did in May. And there I explained 5, 6 different things which we take for granted are part of modern life. I explained how those things are engaging your immunity. Okay, that means this is engaging 10% of your immunity. This activity, unnatural thing, or this kind of food, or this practice is engaging your immunity. Finally, it turns out that average city person, the 80% of the immunity is engaged in managing aspects of their bad lifestyle, and people are taking allopathic medicines also, which is the comorbid deaths. Okay, so that comorbidity I put somewhere at 30%. I said 30% of your immune system is engaged in taking that allopathic medicine, putting it here, trying to prevent it from disturbing your digestion, your inflammation, and whatnot. Right? Something is managing your diabetes or your headache. Then your kidneys are going after 7, 8 years, and they're getting damaged. So that way it turns out that, so they're very important videos, because uh, each of these are wrong practices, and these wrong practices, if you see the supply chain, they go right to the source of growing our foods. And you see, so every wrong practice you create in a human being's life, it creates a massive disruption in the ecosystem, in the entire planetary ecosystem. So watch these two videos, and you will see that once you start knocking off those bad practices in your heart, you will find that you're going to a more natural, lifestyle, and then your immunity is available for 80% of the time. And any human being's immunity who's available at 80% of the immunity is available to them, they cannot get affected by this coronavirus, or the new one that is mutating, or the next one that will mutate. It's a very important video. For two reasons: for your own health, and to see which are the wrong ecosystems on this planet that are actually damaging the human body.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hi, Daryl.
Hello.
Sparsh this side.
Yes, Pash. Good afternoon.
Yeah, sir. Yesterday I was the guy who messaged you regarding the EMFs.
Yes. Okay, Spash. Yeah. So yes, you were on
So,
Instagram.
your answer was very convincing, but still there was some uh, thing that I obviously cannot accept, because I am living in a home and surrounded by these devices by other person using these, and other things as well in the kitchen. There's chimney or electrical gadgets other people are using. So it is not practical for me to do all the things. As well, the LAN cable you're saying for the internet connection. Today, obviously, we're used to the internet which are having high speed.
So through
That
the
is very
Spash, so through the LAN cable, I've got this the highest bandwidth and the fastest speed, right? So LAN cable is that only. Uh,
but that thing also only one can use now on the
no,
PCL
no,
only.
that's what I explained in my message. You get it into one place in your house, and then you can distribute it into 4, 5, whatever you want through a
But
router.
we cannot use that over the cell phones, right?
No, that's what I explained about the IP phone, right? You have a router, and from that router, you got many sockets in it. So you can plug 1, 2, 3 computers. I've taken a wiring to the next room. So in my bedroom also, I've got a connection over there. Then that IP phone can be also the socket of it, the wire of it can be put into your router. Any device that works, like this electronically or a data, right? You can plug into that, and it will take the internet from there.
Darryl, Rupesh was here till just 5 minutes ago.
Yes,
He
I
was
saw.
going for a blood donation and his number had come. He was being called inside. So he
Okay.
said to tell you that it was a very informative and very encouraging talk. And we would love to associate with you in whatever eco-village model that you are developing. Yeah, we
Yes.
can all work together for it.
Sure, of course, definitely.
Daryl, hi, Meenakshi here.
Yes, Meenakshi, hi.
I had a question for you. Okay, first and foremost, I've been following you for almost 3 years now. I got introduced to you through Google when my cousin was suffering from cancer, and I was, looking for life-changing experiences from people, who have cured from any kind of chronic ailment or cancer. And I was really inspired by her entire journey that I read through. Unfortunately, she didn't survive because her cancer had metastasized very fast, and she didn't have any time. But then, yes, I have read your book. Very inspiring, Daryl, and I was very happy to know that you're now a part of Madhouse to Mudhouse. So I'm looking forward to join one of your workshop in Goa. I am based out of Belgaum, so it's very close from me, and that is one thing I'm really looking forward to do. But on the second thing, since you spoke about hydroponic system, yeah, one thing I think this kind of farming misses the earth element, correct?
Right.
So there is a lot of hype about this farming which is happening, across the globe, and even India has picked it up, and everybody is kind of looking forward for such kind of farming. I'm seeing in my terrain also. So do we really should encourage people to go ahead with this? Because it is not giving that sufficient nutrition value. I'm not sure, although there are researchers which say that it does give the same nutritional value, but as you said, it is lacking that earth element. So should we really encourage such kind of farming in our country?
So I want to say something further, which I didn't, say earlier, because this is what I have thought of it. Since I follow a vegan lifestyle, and I'm just writing a little bit more about it in the next edition of my book, because even with vegan, people are making mistakes, uh, where they're having too much of raw food. And that's explained in my book. The amount of raw and cooked you should have depends on your body balance of kapha, pitta, and vayu.
Yes,
Okay,
true, true.
so people are who are already having a high bio element, they go on 100% raw. They become thin, their skin becomes dry, their hair starts falling, and then after 3-4 years, they go and make a YouTube channel and say, "Oh, I went vegan, and in 2 years I got sick." First of all, you're not following proper science itself. Okay. Then the next thing was in our organic farming group, where people were trying to make it. This is what the world has sold us. That you take a cow, you till your land. It's better than a tractor and all. But because you have the cow over there, you should drink its milk and all of that. So in my book, I've written very clearly with scientific basis what are all the 15 illnesses that milk and milk products cause. And even if it's A2 milk, half of those illnesses are still being caused by that milk, even if it's organic, grass-fed, holy cow of India. Okay, there's proper science behind it. But of course, the people who are into the production of A2 milk, they will find all the positive reasons and they'll say, oh, it doesn't create diabetes and all like the normal A1 Jersey cow. They will stick with their points. But there are so many points that are still, and we've seen it practically happening to people. So when I came to this point of organic farming, I put up a debate over there that I said, even without these animals on the planet, you can have good soil. And they say, oh, without cow dung, without cow urine, without animals over there, without chicken poop and all that, how are you going to make a natural soil? So like I said, I go with very basic sciences and real. For me, I look at living sciences, things that are operating on the planet in healthy ecosystems. I look at that. I don't care for books. I don't care for so many of these, studies and laboratories. When I look at a laboratory and a test, I look at the parameters. Many the basic parameters are flawed. Then I don't look at the results because I know. So I say, simple question. I said, have you gone into some parts of the forest where there are no cows roaming? Okay, there are no chicken over there. There is no peacock over there. Only thing you are finding are butterflies, bees, and birds. Okay, and go and see how dense and how that has grown and learn the sciences from there. So what I do on my plot is called veganic farming. That's a new kind of farming where we use no animal products. Okay. So I'm taking whatever I harvest, when the rest of the plant is left, it's chopped and it's put back in the soil. Okay. So you have to look from a scientific ecosystem. Which nutrients are coming and what am I taking out on a regular basis? If I'm putting in more nutrients than I'm taking out, that's what made my soil black soil from sandy soil within 3 years, because I look at that, right? So, so for this, when it came to this, I like the benefit of this hydroponics that every plant is getting equal nutrients, looking equally this and that. So I'm just trying to develop one thing is that from my compost. Now there are hydroponic systems which work on getting some nutrients. So you're going to pay for some nutrients and increase your system cost. There's a one that does fish, so from fish poop, it circulates in the water and gives this feed. So I know there's a limited range of what the fish eats. And as per that, there'll be a limited range of nutrients. So what I'm doing is I use all our fruits, everything from our kitchen and all. I make a judicious mix of the vegetables and the sweet, because the sweet things are what multiplies the bacteria and all faster. So we mix both of those, put them in the soil, completely plant based. So that black powder that comes, I'm going to take that and try to dissolve it in water and put it through the system and see how these hydroponic plants. Then I know, because those nutrients are what is feeding my current soil. Those are complete plant-based, wide-range nutrients. Now, if I dissolve that in water, this is what I was telling my guy who manages my farm. I said, before we install a system, for like one season, let us do one thing. This compost that I have, don't go and put it in the soil. Take it, mix it in water, okay, and keep it for 3-4 hours, and don't. And the next day you start watering, all the plants with this, and let's see how. I know that my plants will grow faster and better with everyday water that has got all these nutrients. So if that succeeds, then the next would be, if we do a hydroponic, then we are giving full nutrients in the water system to all these plants. So that is the closest that I would say I would get equally sized plants growing fast with full range nutrients. The only problem I see is, yeah, their roots, how the plant, you cannot grow big plants with this, and then the supporting structure for it, right? It's not soil. So you have to create some kind of supports. So the two kind of problems I see is more plastic and all of that, more supporting structures for this. So that's why I still stuck to this natural farming, veganic farming. And because in my soil, you go and dig my soil, there are earthworms over there, okay, and everything is happening in it. So um, so that's what I want to do next. From that soil, mix it with the water, and this very rich water I'm going to manually water, because right now I've got this this what is that, drip irrigation system with small sprinklers somewhere. So I said, we'll stop that drip irrigation. We'll make this own high nutrient water from our own compost, and let's start watering our plants, and let's see the result. I know already. I know it's going to be better than ordinary water. And sad part is that in the non-rainy season, this we have sometimes to take water from the municipality. So that's a really bad principle for anybody who is growing food, is to take municipality water that is not got any bacteria in it and it's got chlorine instead. Very bad idea. Never do farming with that. So first go and get your well. Yes, Meenakshi, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think, yeah, for me, I believe in just a natural way of growing it in soil. So yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah. So for me also, that's the best way now. Just one leg of improvement, like I said, is my compost, right? I'm going to dissolve in water, use that to, and whatever is left, little bit particles and all, of course, I'll put it in the soil. But I'm trying to charge my ordinary water with this high nutrients. That's what I will do now and see the result. And then some of our friends who have already got, hydroponic setup, I'm not going to do it myself. Somebody's got a hydroponic setup, I will give them this idea too. Put this compost, dissolve it in your water, put it inside, and let's see for 3 to 6 months, see how, what kind of produce you get.
Okay. Thank you, Darryl.
You're welcome. Welcome.
That's a true amalgam of your engineering knowledge, your IT knowledge, and natural living and farming. Living example of all this.
Yes, yes. So when I came to Goa, for a few days I was just wondering, what was all that industrial engineering I did, and I specialize in supply chain engineering. Okay, and so I said, oh God, so many years of wasted time and doing all of that. But now I've realized that I worked for 2 years in the in pharmaceutical industry. Okay, where I was setting up clean rooms. That's very high tech science, where we create the entire environment where the medicine manufacturing units I installed. Our company also used to cleanse it. I used to work for from 94 to 96. They would make the machines. I would design the areas, get it implemented by our teams and all of that. So now that knowledge, I know how drugs are made, what is the environment, what are the processes over there. Then I, through my supply chain engineering, now I'm engineering the supply, food supply chain, right? And now from today's presentation, you can see what we are talking about is the entire supply chain of every output on the planet. We have to go back, and these actions that I say, every habit, every wrong food choice, everything that people are doing in the city, you look at this the chain, and you will see that if you correct a bad habit here, it corrects bad practices and bad resources. And so for example, I'll just give one example, very fundamental. Okay, uh, I've not heard any great lecture on it, but people speak about it. Sugar cane. Okay, people know that many areas in India where the sugarcane farming was done, that water table has gone down so badly. Okay, people don't realize the fundamental. We don't need that single sugar content, only that one from sugarcane. Everybody who's got a sweet tooth today, you'll see this in my book, basic principle. Everybody who's got a sweet tooth today is not your personality type. It is not what you got from your father, your grandmother, and all. If you got a sweet tooth today, you are suffering from malnutrition of inadequate amount of natural sugars from a range of fruits. The range of fruits should be the ones that you are getting in your locality at that time. Now, people don't eat enough of the natural seasonal fruits. Their body goes low in fructose and all that. They develop a sweet tooth. This is a living biological organism. It needs what it needs. It doesn't care about your psychology. Body is healthy, then the mind will work. It's not that the mind works and creates a body, right? So you're going to be having a sweet tooth, and then you're going and eating mithai. What is many of the mithai is what? They're just atta and sugar. Okay, or there is atta, milk, and sugar. So atta is also acidic, and it's explained in my book. You should switch to millets. Even rice and wheat are not healthy. People don't know. Indira Gandhi, there are articles from her where she was saying the amount of rice and wheat cultivation, this is unnatural. Same science, you will go anywhere in the wild, and you will not see fields. Or the only fields that are there on the planet are created by man. Okay, so switching to millets is important. So this about the sweet tooth thing, what I'm saying is that we have made such a fundamental mistake that if we were having sugars, we should have had sugars of all these fruits and all that. But we have left all the natural, this, we got a sweet tooth, then we take one sugarcane plant and we say it's the most convenient to iskai shakkar banate hain. We make a big industry of it that depletes the groundwater, then we say the land is destroyed and it was such a bad idea. I'm saying fundamental mistakes, okay? So I follow a life, not a single grain of sugar comes in any of my food. Neither do I use. So there are nutritionists of various calibers and at certain levels. So the first one will say, don't have processed sugar because there are chemicals in it. Fine. They say have brown sugar. Then somebody will say, don't even have the crystal sugar, have jaggery, right? And then some next person will say, have organic jaggery. And I come in there and say that all of you will be in this drama and in these products and being, what is that, subscribers or consumers of these products. But what you actually needed is you just needed fresh fruits locally to be eaten. And if you do that for 21 days, that's what I did in 2010-9. 21 days, all of my sweet tooth and all went off. And from then I've never had a sweet tooth since 2010. All my dental cavities and all stopped. No more dental cavity. Okay. And so I'm saying here, so this is a simple example of just one small product on your table, that how it is violating fundamental principles of health and all that, and how it is getting into bad farming practices, and those bad farming practices are depleting your groundwater and destroying your land.
I've read your book. I especially came to your house to pick it up. You remember a few years ago, right?
Yes, I
And
did.
I mean, I'm addressing this to everybody. You've taken up each and every element. water element, sun element, earth element, chapter wise,
Yes,
and
yes,
given so many very useful tips over there, which people are not aware of.
yes, yes. So because I say those are human beings. Now, here's another point and science which I've experienced. I want to share with you because tomorrow when I'm going to Arambol, I'm going to meet a breatharian. That is a man who lives on air, no food, no water. Okay. Now, I lived on one third of the amount of my food intake from 2009, 10, 11 by doing sun yoga, living on sun energy. Okay. And because to see the scientific principle, I was living on sun energy, and for those 3 years, I needed to sleep only for 4 hours in a day. Okay, at night. Why? Because my digestive system was not being used so much. So the amount of rest my body needed was half of what it actually was used to. So from this principle, we can understand how much of energy is used by the human body to digest food. And here we have people overeating. So of course, an extra amount of energy is going to be used by their bodies to process that food. So everybody who overeats, you can see they are lethargic in the morning. They take time to get up. By evening, they want to crash or they're tired. And to pep them up, they want this tea and this coffee. So in my book, you will read uh, coffee. It is natural microtoxins by the coffee plant, which are used to fend off germs. So every plant does biological warfare. Okay. The only thing that the plant is trying to do, it'll protect. It has to protect its stem, its leaves, its roots, its everything, and only the fruit that is a produce is an offering for consumption. That's why people are eating so much of leaves and all. And now the science is coming out. Oh, leaves have got anti-nutrients and all. This I've written 10 years back in my book from Natural Principles. Now, since 1, 2 years, educated nutritionists are coming up with this that there are oxalates in leaves. People who are eating too much leafy foods, which are causing they're having digestive disorders and all of that. So, so this coffee also coming to the point of coffee it is actually a natural neurotoxin. So it jumps up your body starts. Because I follow good nutrition and balanced nutrition, I live a simple life. Morning when I get up at 6:30 or something, my eyes open, I just, throw some water on my face. At that time, within 5 minutes, I can do mathematics, I can do my banking, I can do my, taxes, I can run around, I can do anything. That is an energy system that is balanced and awake when it needs to be awake. If any of you here get up in the morning and you're groggy and you're brushing your teeth and you're still not in control, and then you need after half an hour sit down, अरे भैया मेरे को coffee दे दो, मेरा coffee के बिना मेरा दिन नहीं चलेगा. You are having lack of energy and your energy balance in your body is gone for a toss. Out of each type of misery that human beings go through, there has been birthed an industry that makes money of you. So coffee is one such industry. Okay, this entire sugars, all this kind of sugars, they are another industry. I'm telling you, if you follow natural principles in that eco community, you don't need any of these industries and their products because you are working on the real basics of life. So coming back to Minamji, what you said, 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space. I found it very fundamental to write that chapter and call it the 5 elements therapy because now coming back to what I did. So how the sun yoga, the sun has got all of these nutrients. Okay. And my teacher, Sun Yogi Uma Shankar, he lived without food and all that for 10 years. How did this happen? Okay. It happens because that sun rays also different frequencies of the sun, they got those different energies and they come through the eyes, go into the system and all that. There's a chapter on it in my book and also on my website. I don't recommend people to live on sun energy, but even if you do it as advised, 1 minute per day and all going up to 10 minutes in the morning, you get a lot of energy. And that time you take off, majority of your clothes or wear sleeveless and all of that, and you get vitamin D. 3 things you can do by that sun yoga practice. Morning meditation, thank the God, Aditya. I do the Aditya, mantra in the morning. So connect with your spiritual guides, with your higher masters and God. Connect with the sun. Get vitamin D. open your eyes, get in energy into your system, get pure nutrition, undiluted nutrition. Okay. So that's why I wrote the 5 elements therapy, because yeah, it is energy flow. So in fact, this should be a global program, especially for third world countries in Africa and all, where those children are dying because of starvation. They should be taught this Breatharian and Sun Yogi techniques. They can live. And once I did the Sun Yoga, can you believe my migraines? They vanished after 1 month. I used to have 2 day migraines. By correcting my diet and using acupressure and all, from 2 days it became 1 day. But in 2009, when I did my first 1 month of Sun Yoga, my migraines went for life. So it corrected. In my book, it's written. There's a triple warmer energy meridians on the body which run along the spinal cord, and then there are blockages in energy, then you get migraine. So the Sun Yoga cleared all the chakra system and those blockages, and I stopped having migraines. I couldn't go out without Ray-Ban goggles. Now I don't even have a pair of goggles since 10 years. So a lot of benefits just from this spiritual advancement, clarity in thought. Prominent lawyer friend of mine in Bombay, who is 65 or 68 years, he said, Darryl, my memory is coming back. I'm having sharper memory. I'm having more multitasking skills. And, my conversation has become very crystal clear and sharp at the age of 68. So, yeah, so be rest assured that whatever is written in my book, what I teach, I have gone through it, I've experienced it, I've used it myself, and I only teach what I have used and practiced.
Thank you once again on behalf of Madhouse to Madhouse. It's been a wonderful time, a nice morning spent, learned a lot. Thank you so much from everyone.
Yes, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Meenam ji. Thank you, Rupesh ji. I'm so happy to be on this platform. And, I was jumping for joy that there's a group like this, who are so intent, and people from the city are really looking for a healthier and better life. That's why I, joined Madhouse to Mudhouse and this whole movement. I'm with all of you because there is a commitment, and I'm so happy that, other people are also thinking in this way. I'm sure so many of you have been at least had this idea in your mind even before, I shifted from Bombay to Goa before 2010. So I'm so happy to, contribute to these ideas and help to fructify, people's dreams. And like I said, I'm very clear that this is going to happen on this planet. There is going to be an exodus, all for better health, for better societal structure, for the future of this planet. And even as spirituality is growing in the world today, people are realizing that real spiritual connection, comes in nature. Uh, as Meenamji read out, I speak at the World Parliaments on spirituality also, and I'm writing a book on it, and which will be out mid next year. And it'll give some very deep principles and connect all of these things in our spiritual frame of mind also. And I had a very deep in the spiritual space. I had a very deep interaction, I would say, with the plant kingdom and some of the main plant trees. I've never read of this. I've heard of some books that talk of certain things, but I communicated with a few trees that are the communicators on behalf of the plant kingdom, and they taught me some very important things. The plant said, that we create food on this planet. There are no other creators of food on this planet. We take from Father Sky, and the elements from Father Sky are the air and the sun and the space, and we take from Mother Earth, the water and the earth. We bring it together and we create food. And animals and snails and earthworms and all of these things who feed on plant matter. Your life is given by us, and you are doing so many things right now to damage the basic ecosystems of the planet. Please remember that plants have always won the war. There have been civilizations that have come and gone, whether it's Lemurians, Atlanteans, whatever you talk, dinosaurs. They said we are supreme, And we, in effect, are the biggest hand of God on this planet. Please understand that. And respect plants, work closer with us, and we will show you the deeper sciences and what life and living ecosystems are all about. So that is why I am saying so clearly that land and trees as a resource and an asset, I value it more than gold and uranium and diamonds or anything. Okay, they are the biggest creatures on the planet, and they shared something more with me. They said, even when your greatest masters, whether you call it Shiva, okay, who was using the Datura plant, they said, in your physical vehicle, there is only a range of experiences that you can have. If you want to go beyond that, out of yourself, communicate with us, be part of our energy, learn our sciences and how we create life on this planet, you will have to work with us. And your capacities come from us. And without us, you do not exist. And please see that you all are our children. Your brain power, your intellectual power, your artistic power comes from the range of nutrients that we give you through all our plants and all the fruits and all of that. If we take away those things, you will not exist in the form that you do. So I'm going to be sharing these. There's going to be one chapter on my communication with the plant kingdom, which they are the deepest science that is, and that will come out in my spiritual book. I'm doing a new edition of my book on health, where I will keep some a little a brief of this, but the spiritual aspect of it I will put in my book on spirituality. So I said just to let people know, and I'm writing this for people to know that we have an amazing future in front of us if we take the route of natural. Because for me, all of these natural things are manifestations or creations. The creator has expressed itself in all of these forms, and we are working with God directly in all of these forms. So human beings come with certain amounts of knowledge, and we create materials and sciences. But like plastic, that will not it's not biodegradable, for thousands of years, 1 to 2,000 years. So we do create things. We also a hand of creator on this planet. But please sit back and look at what human beings have created on this planet, and you will see that it is quite a disaster. It's only when you get back to living on the land, to working, the soil will talk to you, the plants will talk to you, the animals will talk to you. And I say they are our only real teachers, which are, of course, a form of God. So God teaches us all sciences, all realities, and all facts through all of God's expression. And they live by the law of God, which means that they work in what you call in the box. Okay, so an elephant walking on the land, even if it may by the corner of its eye look at an eagle in the sky, it doesn't really wonder why is the eagle flying, how is it going higher and higher, and why am I not able to fly. No, the elephant does its natural science, but the human beings have been given this extra capacity to think out of the box. It's a good thing, but we create a nuclear bomb, we create world wars, we create plastic. Okay, now this guy is sending all satellites to the across the earth, which is going to create a full magnetic shield with all these 5Gs are going to, the entire people are trying to redesign the entire earth in an unnatural form, and we are going to see big disasters. So those people who go through natural sciences on natural land, I think they are the only people who can save this planet.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. You're talking like a shaman, modern shaman. Huh?
Yes, I've had my exchanges in shamanism. I work with kingdom and what they call plant medicine. I've seen some
Mm.
amazing and experienced the healing from amazing sciences, from the amazing shamans from the Amazon and other places, right? So that was my exposure and people say that, you sound like a shaman yourself. I said, let me come to the day when I live completely in the eco community, and then you'll see more shamanism coming out. Yeah.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much, Darryl. Thank
Yes.
you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody. God bless.
Bye.
I'm waiting to see the eco community very soon and belong to it.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Darryl, thank you very much. I'm
Yes.
going to live in an eco community.
Yes, yes. Yes, sir. Wonderful. Looking forward. Bye bye.
Okay.
Namaste.
Bye.